Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Divers Ready, coming to you this week from the scuba diving paradise of the Marshall Islands. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Divers Ready. My name's James. As always, thank you so much for spending your time with me. Where the hell are you this week, James? What is going on? Yeah, this is pretty much the dictionary definition of the middle of nowhere. I am on an island called Ebeye, which is part of the Kwajalein Atoll, which is part of the country of the Marshall Islands, which is halfway between Hawaii and Australia, out in the middle of the Pacific. Why are you here, James? Well, as regular viewers of this channel will know, the top of my bucket list for the longest time has been to dive the atomic ghost fleet of Bikini Atoll, and I'm finally getting that checked off of the list. So in order to do that, I had to make my way out to the Marshall Islands, to the middle of nowhere. Just getting to Bikini Atoll is an adventure itself. You have to get yourself to Honolulu or Guam, and then you're going to jump on either end of the island hopper service, which goes through about 5 different islands in the Marshall Islands and in Micronesia. So from Guam to Chuuk, and then on and through, and then ending in Honolulu. I got into Honolulu, I then flew to Amajuro, which is the capital of the Marshall Islands, and then hopped another plane over to Kwajalein. Kwajalein is a US military base. You might be able to see it just on the horizon over there, but it is basically a military installation. You cannot stay there. So as soon as you land in Kwajalein, where the airstrip is, they put you on a ferry and ship you over to the neighboring island, which is where I'm standing right now. This is Ebeye Island. There is nothing here in Ebeye. There is one hotel, one restaurant, that's it. So you're basically just waiting up, reading your Kindle, and literally waiting for our ship to come in. And then we can board and make the 30-hour crossing to Bikini Atoll, which is a different atoll island system in the Marshall Islands. Why is Bikini Atoll so significant for divers? Why is it at the top of my bucket list? Well, you really got to know the history of what happened at Bikini. So after Oppenheimer, after Hiroshima, after Nagasaki, after World War II was over, the Atomic Energy Commission of the US wanted to continue testing nuclear weapons, and they chose Bikini Atoll as the site to do it. So they detonated, over a span of about 7 or 8 years, they detonated 23 or 24 nuclear devices in one small atoll. And what they wanted to do was test what a nuclear attack would do to a naval fleet. So they took a bunch of American ships that were going to be decommissioned after World War II anyway, and a bunch of Japanese ships that were captured during the war, and they set out a mock anchorage, a mock fleet of vessels in a atoll called Bikini. Now these ships themselves are significant. You've got the Saratoga, which delivered aircraft and fighters to the Guadalcanal battle. You've got the Nagato, which is the Japanese vessel that Admiral Yamamoto actually gave the order to attack Pearl Harbor from. So as a final FU to the Japanese, they took that ship away and made it part of a nuclear target practice. And a bunch of other American and Japanese ships out there. There's plane wrecks and all this kind of good stuff. Besides the cool diving and the history of the wrecks themselves, it would be remiss of me to make this video and not mention the huge human impact that the atomic tests in Bikini had. Basically, the population of Bikini Atoll was actually relocated to a different island, and unfortunately, due to poor planning on the part of the American Atomic Energy Commission, put them directly in line for the nuclear fallout from the very first test, Able, which delivered a huge radiation dose of plutonium, cesium, strontium, all over the people that they just relocated to safety. Of course, those people developed radiation poison. A lot of them died very, very quickly. A lot of them died from cancer years and years later. It was a massive humanitarian disaster. There's no other way to say it. So the tests themselves then, the first 2 tests were named Able and Baker. The Able test was detonated in midair and did actually surprisingly little damage. The ships rocked and so on. It was really Baker that sank all of the big boys, and she was detonated under the water at a depth of around 90 feet. And that's the test from which you see all of these iconic photos from from Bikini Atoll. This is a massive trip. It took me years to dream about, it took me years to plan, it took me years to train for. The training is really, really important. All of the wrecks here are at least in the 60-meter deep range. I mean, imagine the crater that the nuclear weapons created. They are deep wrecks. They're 60 meters, 200 feet every single dive. There is nothing here for recreational divers at all. So think about your career as a diver and wherever you are in your training right now, and goal setting and how important that is to be like, okay, I want to go and dive the wrecks in Bikini, and not to rush that process. This has taken me 20 years of diving to be good enough to come and do this kind of an adventure. So it's important to have short-term goals that you can tick off and achieve. This isn't one of those. This is a career lifelong goal where you need to get to at least, I would say, mod 2 CCR in order to even think about attempting it. But it's not just enough to have the cert card and maybe an advanced rec cert card as well. You've got to go out and train and do dives after your training and get used to these depths. You don't want to come out here as a rookie trimix diver and just get your ass handed to you. That would be horrendous. Thank you as always so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Dive safe, dive often.